Hey everybody, today's Sunday the 27th of June and this is Kev's Vibe of the Day. Welcome, 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 and a very special happy birthday to my friend Maggie. I won't say how old she's turning today, but I hope you have a special day. And anyone else that's celebrating this weekend, all of you Cancerians, Cancerinis, as that, what is his name? He's an astrologer here on the YouTube channel. Oh, goodness gracious. Sasha Bonasin. That's him. Very colourful person, a lot of fun to listen to, and a pretty accurate astrologer as it goes. All right, let's get right to the boards and get right to the cards. Thank you, angels, for being around today, and thank you for revealing to me what I need to know. It's good to feel you, it's good to have you here, and it's good to get your messages. I am in the great mood, so let's get right to it. See what our message of the day is, or message, not our mess. There you go. Whoop, I feel like this is the one I need to turn over today. You know, I should go through these and put them right side up, but there you go. I don't necessarily read the cards in the reverse. Sometimes I will listen to what my spirit guides and angels are saying when it comes to this is upside down or this is backwards. And I'll just ask, is this anything significant? Do I need to pay attention to the fact that it is what it is, backwards, upside down, whatever that means or looks like? Let me adjust this camera. There we go. I'm hoping that will work next time. Okay. Oh, power and intention. Wow. Such a great, great card. This to me looks like the image of, if you're into Harry Potter, Dumbledore and Merlin, somewhat wizardry. Wow. So the image really is that. Have the power of your intentions and the power of your convictions and go with it. I think that this also means that the power of the universe is with us. It also tells me that as we align ourselves with the highest good and the highest good of other people, much can be manifested. This card is saying that we have the capacity to be great leaders, to lead with conviction. We can let go of the ego, or it can also mean the power, when it rises up, the ego gets louder, meaning it gets more fearful. You know, there's one thing when we come forward and we become leaders and we speak our truth and we get into, listen, this is the way we should be moving forward. And more people are attracted to our light. More people are attracted to our truth. More people are attracted to what we have to say. It's very easy for the ego to get louder and louder and louder and want to start doing that big dance, showing off, if you will. That's because it wants to stay limited. Don't let the ego, the fear of the ego, the fear of, you know, even if that means feeling like you're more than you really are, because that truly does show up. It shows up in the way that people tend to get what I call drunk on power, or inebriated with their own importance. That's ego talking. That's the insecurity talking. When real power, real authenticity takes over, it's truth. It's allowing to share the stage. It's allowing to line ourselves up with other people, not to be the most important, but to show other people their importance, to show them that they matter and what they have to say matters. I think successful leaders of, I've got a speck on my screen. Successful leaders of large companies tend to line themselves up with people that are really brilliant at what they do, pull them forward and allow them to be big leaders in their organizations. The angels right now are encouraging all of us to reconnect with the initial ideas and intentions that we had in the beginning for what we want to do. And the universe is now responding with the initial intentions because we've let go of the nonsense about not getting them. When we just let go, we let God come in, and we let the angels come in, and we let the universe come in to do their magic. So if you've got any reservations or cloudiness about how to move forward, you've got to recognize that you're being influenced, and that influence is coming from a clear conversation that you've got with angels about your intentions, and recognize what you've got unfolding within you. Allow yourself to live from a place of opportunity, potentiality, greatness. I love this card because it is really a reminder. Let's go back to this camera there. Boom, done. See, it's a little bit later today. Usually I'm in here 5:30, 6 o'clock, but I was meditating for a while this morning. I want to get to that a little bit in a minute and talk about that, because angels came this morning and asked me to say a little bit about meditation and the practice of it, and the different forms of it. But I want to finish this up first. Within every single one of us, there is an incredible amount of opportunity and power. There is no way that we would have what it takes to come from 2 small pieces of DNA into a live, living human being. That takes a certain amount of power. It takes a certain amount of will. And we are born into this existence, the human experience, with the ability to trust and the ability to love. It is counterintuitive to come from that loving space and not be of love. Even those who appear to have, I would say, shadow energy, others might call it a dark heart, darkness, some might call it evil. I've learned in my travels and in my journey that if we come from love and we are love and we are a source of love, then it would really not be kind to look at people who have perhaps chosen a different path to ours, destructive path, a path that seeks to, really destroy, whether that is materialism, human life, what it is that they choose to destroy. It's difficult and challenging from someone that comes from love and comes from light and comes from the power of intention of sharing that, to then turn around and be a hypocrite by criticizing others, by calling other people out. And certainly I've done it, which is a lesson I needed to learn. I needed to learn that the ego is the one that wants to limit everything. The ego is the one that wants to keep us in fear. The ego is the one that wants to point the fingers and blame everybody for anything that's gone that we don't like, we don't want, and doesn't line up with us. Now I know, which I'll share, that sometimes when something doesn't quite go right or isn't really lined up with what I wanted, that something better is. I'd say that we all have the capacity to look for 1% better. And what we should be doing in comparing ourselves, not blaming, is to compare who we are right now with who we were before we learned what we learned, before we realized what we realized, before we awakened to what we awakened, before we understood what we understood. Because hopefully, if we learned we're 1% better, 2% better, 10% better, we're stronger, we're more lined up with a truth, and we've learned a lesson and its challenges. It is easy, and it's learned behavior, to fall in the trappings of saying this person's not good, that person's not good, they're this, they're that. Especially when you're wanting to win something, beat someone. You know, I was watching a little tiny bit of the Olympic trial athletes who are looking for a place to become an Olympian, which just really means, oh, I got goosebumps, here we go. So I know I'm on a roll, which really just basically means that they get the right to qualify and compete. This is where this power of intention lands. It takes the love of their whole family, each athlete, the dedication of that athlete to train and to practice, and their supporters, the local communities, the coaches, the coaching team. And when I watched them, whether or not they were, this week was track and field and gymnastics, last week was swimming. When I watched them and I saw that the whole team was rooting each other on, that they were genuinely compassionate when someone's speed or score or number wasn't quite high enough to get them to qualify. You could tell that they were genuinely compassionate about that person who wasn't going to make it to this Olympics. I watched as a man who did not qualify, I believe it was diving. He came short. He did medal in another Olympic Games competition, but this time he didn't make the swimming team. And this young fellow, who I think was 16 or 17, did qualify, did get in. And he was genuinely at odds with the fact that he got in and this hero person did not. But yet the point I'm making is that love and compassion allows all of us to cheer one another on and to try and strive to be a little better than what we were. Now, so we'll just say, for sake of argument, I am at one end of my career, having learned what I've learned through experience and getting things not quite right and redoing it. Somebody younger might be inspired by what I'm doing or inspired by my length of experience. I don't know. I can't say that. And I'm not putting myself on that pedestal. But what I'm saying is there's a combination with learning from the misstep, not a mistake. Nothing is a mistake. Nothing's really wrong if it teaches us something. If we're able to go back and say, oh, there's a different way of doing this. The challenge is that we look at it as a personal slight. We look at it as a personal insult. Because typically when we're little and we do something that wasn't quite right or didn't seem to be quite right, instead of the teachers sitting us down and saying, okay, this is what had happened, this is the way you went about it, and this is how you got there. Now, if we went about it this way, see if the result would be different. Let the person, the student, make that choice. Make them see these are the avenues you've got, these are the choices, this is the potentiality. And the potentiality of all of this is possible. But going about it this way will result in maybe not quite where you want to be. Then the other part of it is this. If the step forward, if the leap to be better is huge. Like we'll say your power and your intention is way on out there. That's fantastic. In one leap, it's not necessarily probable. I'm trying to look for an example of what that humongous big leap would be. There's a reason why there are steps along the way. And those steps, the power of intention, is actually the journey of the experience that we're meant to have. We're meant to line up with the right people to get to the next piece, to be that little bit better, to go that little bit further. And yes, there's still many times, we talked about this the other day, about time to say goodbye, time to wrap up the people that were in our lives before. Not to say you don't love them any less, not to say you're not grateful for what you've learned, but the former jobs and positions you've had, the former co-workers that you've worked with, perhaps it's the former partners, love interests, romantic entanglements. All of these journeys we have with people at some point come to an end. It's part of getting somewhere else, moving forward. Sometimes the people that we have to end our course with, they're not ready for us to end it. They're wanting to have more of a connection with us, but yet that's holding us back. So there's a choice of what do you do if somebody else is dependent upon you and the influence in their life, but it's also holding you back. It's keeping you behind the line and you really want to go forward. Then that's where you communicate honestly. There was a card that came up about that, about honesty and communication. That popped up. When that shows up, it's time to have a chat usually with yourself. So today's card is really about setting yourself down a goal, knowing that you've got the power of intention of your original intention to keep going, to keep that moving forward, to choose to be a little bit better, but compare yourself with yourself, not with other people. Be inspired and perhaps motivated, but not comparing. There's a slight, tiny difference. Somebody can inspire me and motivate me to want to do something. But when I start comparing myself with another person, two things are happening. I'm either not making it or they didn't make it. And either one of those responses it's a blame game. It's the ego trip. Let's read from Melody Beatty and then we will do I want to talk about meditation before we do the meditation. Here we are. June the 27th. Learn to be calm. I felt strained and tense when I began driving along the Redwood Highway in Northern California. I had wanted to take another road, one quicker but less scenic, to get to my destination. At the last moment, I decided to drive through the trees. Thousands of redwoods grew hundreds of feet into the air. Some stood tall and proud, some seemed to have their necks craned so they could peer down onto the highway. Some grew with roots connected, like families. Some stood alone, mile after mile after mile. For as far as I could see in any direction, thousands of trees surrounded me. The power and the message became inescapable. It was one of calmness, patience, and growth. For hundreds of years, they've been here, patiently seeing things through. Little ruffled them. They just kept on growing for all those years, steadily, patiently, peacefully, calmly. They've been through enough, seen enough, to know not to worry. Things work out, change happens, life continues to evolve. I didn't see one tree hurrying or worrying. They've been here long enough to learn life's lessons well. Learn a lesson from the redwoods. Let each teach the power and patience and calm. Life goes on, things happen, people change. Times move along. There are stories to live and stories to tell. But we can be calm and know that always all will be well. I love that. There are stories to live and stories to tell, but we can be calm and know that all is well. Oof. That was powerful. Okay, so now my little tiny lesson, if you will, on meditation. There's a lot said about it. I think it is lovely when people reach the point where, meditation becomes an important part of their day. Not the reason we get to look a certain way. You know, there are those who somewhat weaponize spirituality by doing that whole, well, I meditate. Oh, yeah, really? And I'm inwardly okay. And others don't meditate because they believe they can't sit still. That's really true. That's true for everybody who's coming to a place of meditation and quiet. You know, we're spirits having a human experience. A soul comes into this physical embodiment and works out the physical ways it does its thing. And being part of a physical being physical, being human, the beingness of it, is incredibly sensual. Senses, sight, sound, touch, feel, emotions, all of those things going on physically. That is glorious or not so glorious. The art of doing and doing and doing. And there are as many times in many folks' life who are having an experience of being human where there's not time. We've got to do this. There's a lot of doing this. So it makes sense that to come and be relaxed and to get quiet and to sit and close your eyes and go to the soul and the spirit of who you are, nurture, bloom and blossom that side of us that is like, yeah, right, you're going to sit for 20 minutes, half an hour, come on, let's go, we've got stuff to do. Yet it's necessary. We have an awful lot of folks in the western part of the world. I can't talk about the eastern hemisphere of the planet or even the southern hemisphere because that's not where I live. But there's a lot of folks who have a hard time sleeping, have a hard time winding down, have a hard time relaxing. They're all up in this frenetic way of living. Meditation is what creates the balance. There is a lot more that can be achieved once this human spirit has been lined up, reworked, where your biorhythms, remember that word, biorhythms, the rhythm of your biological body, line up and take their time to do their thing. We can accomplish so much more by thinking so much less. Doing the simplest things, the smallest things, creates the biggest result. It isn't about how much or how many gifts are on the table at a party, or whether or not your box is larger than somebody else's, or that your gift is more valuable, or that is frenetic nonsense. A very simple act, the very smallest of gestures, can make such a huge impact. So coming to the art and mastery of meditation is a practice. Art and mastery are practices of everything that's created. We can get into the artistic and creativeness of it and strive to master the skill of it. And then there will be another experience or skill to delve into that comes from it. Just like those redwood trees in her book. They just go and they move and they do their thing. Life is a dance, it's a journey, but all the way through it is this vein of softness, of calm, of peace that we could just glide and slide through, as opposed to pushing and shoving and being destructive, demonstrative, loud, over the top, the need to be seen, the need to be heard, the need to be seen over other people, the need to be heard over other people. No. The greater power is to be seen by yourself, heard by yourself. And that takes two things: listening and being. The beingness of the listening to you. Because that's really ultimately what you're actually here to do. Your purpose. Use this incredible physical experience, this life as you are and as you are not, to learn what is next. The power and intention. And part of that is you are the great wizard and the great master. You've already set the intention out there. And you get to wield your power by letting the universe do its thing. So you just have to trust it. The thing I've woken up to recently is, oh, wait, I am that. I am the magic that manifests exactly what I want just by making it happen. Oh, how do you do that? You just magically conjure up what you want. What happens is the ego doesn't want us to realize that. They've written books about it. People have made a fortune. Power of positive thinking, law of attraction, The Secret. All of these things teach us to wake up to the potentiality that we have, seeing it, feeling it, tasting it, wanting it, and knowing that you have the power to get it. Anything you want. As long as it's done with love, with respect, and it's for the highest good of other people. Remember the redwoods in the forest? Some of those roots join together, but they're all standing up as one forest. Bunches of individual trees making one forest. Does it make sense? So we're one with the power that creates what we want. We're one with the potential that we have to do what we need to do. That's all one energy. It's not different people. The one energy that gathers the people together is one energy, and they all come together. So meditation is getting quiet and letting that energy move forward and let it happen. Listening to what's happening, listening to, oh, this is a good thing, letting it all just out there. All right, now it's time to meditate. Feet flat on the floor, palms towards the roof, and take a big breath in. Relax and let go. Your breath is the connection to your central nervous system. The more air you pull into your body, the more your central nervous system gets to relax. Take a scan of your body from the floor to the crown of your head, basically working your way from the bones out to the skin as you rise up with your mind. Take a inventory of the feelings that are going on the inside of your body. Look for and be with any part that feels stuck, stiff, tight. When you reach a part, and it could be your shoulders, your hips, your belly, your chest, your wrists, anywhere that there is a major joint responsible for the movement of the connecting bones and tissues. If there's something achy, stiff, where the energy isn't flowing, take a breath in and send that light to that area. As you breathe out, release and let go of the energy that traps in there. Once you've scanned your body, be with the silence and the quietness of the listening. Noise, sounds, give listening something to listen to. Clairaudient listening is the extrasensory hearing, void of physical sound, but with the presence of intuitive sound. Intuitive sound invokes the ability of hearing a voice, audibly hearing a message, hearing a name, hearing your own name. Intuitive listening is the result of a quiet mind that has pushed pause on the thinking. The mind is part of the body. Mind is part of the brain. The mind maneuvers in many different sections of the brain. The mind maneuvers and influences the thoughts. Thoughts and thinking Observations in the present moment are void of egoic influence. Staying in the present moment is a simple act of moving the consciousness to your hands, your feet, your belly, or the tops of your head. Reconnecting the thoughts to what is actually going on. The temperature of the room that you're in. The absence or presence of airflow. The soft, muted voices or sounds from external sources. Bring your attention to your breath. Reconnect to a rhythm of it, the hushing noise as you bring air in through your nose and either out through your nose or your mouth. Gently allow yourself to stay here in the now, in the present moment. You can choose to push pause on this video and continue meditating, or bring your hands to heart center. Take the time to be grateful for the blessings this day is offering you. Thankful and grateful you have the time to learn to return to your spirit. Bring your thumb knuckles to your third eye center, and together we bow and say Namaste. I always feel lovely and centered after meditation. So the meditation we just completed is a guided meditation, just reminding, and they're all different. There's some that are creative visualizations, balancing the chakras, listening to spirits, bringing them in, sharing their messages. There's a struggle that pops up with many people about what's real. What is real? What's real? What's real? If there's an image that's new and different, pay attention to it. There's a sound that's new and different, physical or otherwise, pay attention to it. The reality, the realness of it, it's showing you something. But there doesn't necessarily have to be anything complicated or specific. It can just be showing you something. Look at this. Have a look at that. Like when you're going out to the mall with somebody, they want to drag you into a store and show you something. Doesn't necessarily have to have anything much to do with what's going on, and just be, I'd like to show you how interesting I find this, all that. Listen, my friends, thank you very much for letting me come here and do this. I am now over 100 subscribers and I'm so grateful to you. Share, subscribe, like, keep it going. Talk to you soon. Bye.